so very much for being back, and if you just joined us, it's still Enterprise Morning, reaching you from Enterprise Television. Let's have our conversation for today. Senator Ali Ndume has distanced himself from the endorsement of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for a second term by 22 APC governors, warning that such endorsement don't guarantee election victory. He recalled that ex-President Jonathan had similar support in 2015 but still lost. Speaking on Channels Television, Ndume criticized the worsening economy, insecurity and high cost of living, saying Nigerians are losing faith in Tinubu's renewed hope agenda. He revealed he walked out of the APC summit when the endorsement was announced, stressing he remains in the party but disagrees with the move. Meanwhile, former SGF Babachir Lawal warned that defecting politicians may face voters' backlash in 2027. Let's get talking. Emeka Madunago is still here with us. Thank you so very much, Emeka, for being back.
Thank you very much.
All right, Emeka, I know as much as we would love to agree with the message, the messenger here, let's take a little bite on that matter before we get to the message. Yesterday, the ACF Arewa Consultative Forum equally said the same thing, that Bola Ahmed Tinubu, rather than concentrate on the barrage of issues infesting Nigeria, he is more concerned about 2027. And now we have Ndume saying the same thing. All of this call is coming from the northern part of Nigeria that had Muhammad Buhari for 8 years and did not say anything, or if they did, not as much as we can feel it today. So let's talk about the messenger before we get to the message here. Do you think they have the moral standing to say all of the things you see them say today?
Why not? Why don't they have? Are they not Nigerians? They are Nigerians. They are citizens. If I suspect that you are talking about zoning, it's not in the constitution. So anybody can aspire to be the president of Nigeria. So. But I'm saying it from the light of.
I'm saying it from the light of this group not stating this as much as they are doing it now during Muhammad Buhari.
No, well, unless we do a content analysis of reports about their press releases, we cannot just offhandedly say so, because I know the ACF and Northern Elders Forum, they made pronouncements under Buhari. I do know that Ndume himself, yes, Ndume also criticized Buhari. Yes, I do know that for sure. I do know, yes, Babachir Lawal was the Secretary to the Government of the Federation under Buhari, but of course after he left, he was criticizing the Buhari administration. So I think we should basically speak to issues so that we don't trivialize the seriousness of the problems at hand.
Okay.
When we throw back to Jonathan, when Jonathan was president, of course Jonathan has some laudable ideas. You remember in 2014, he convoked the National Conference, that made a number of fundamental recommendations. But what happened? He didn't push through on them. He just pushed out the BVN, the NIN, but the other fundamental issues, he didn't push them through. Even the constitution review, he didn't have the guts to put it into, into practice. Even ASU, the agreement, the negotiations with ASU, Jonathan didn't have the courage to implement, to even reach an agreement, to even reach an agreement with ASU. Remember, ASU was on strike for 9 months. Nyesom Wike, who is the FCT minister today, was the Minister of State for Education. He didn't have the balls to do all of those things. He was more interested in politicking. Even when the Chibok girls were kidnapped in April 2024, in April 2014, what did Jonathan do? He was in Kano dancing at a campaign rally. He still continued with the 22 governors endorsed him. But at the end of the day, even traditional to the point that, remember, when Buhari came in, when Ibrahim Magu was the chairman of the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, when they were investigating the spending of the Dasuki Gate, excuse me, the Dasuki Gate, it was said that a former governor received billions of naira to hire marabouts, that is witch doctors, you see, to spiritually manipulate the 2015 election.
On whose
so
favor?
You can imagine how bad that was.
On whose favor?
You know, sorry?
On whose favor?
In Jonathan's favor now.
Okay. In
Jonathan's favor, this thing is public knowledge now. Shekarau, the former governor of Kano State now, is a public knowledge now. It's not a hidden thing, you know. So all this is came to light now when the investigations into the Dasuki Gate were being done under Buhari. So all of these things. That's why Ndume is saying that I pity you, Tinubu, because you think governors have endorsed you, and then that cannot guarantee a path to re-election, because one, there is the rumor, there are allegations that the endorsement is actually to recruit governors to write the results of elections in their states. Because, okay, imagine, look at one governor who could only get 360,000 votes. He promised Tinubu, he promised to get millions of votes for Tinubu. Somebody who couldn't, get plenty votes for himself, was promising phantom. So how do they hope to get these votes? That is why they are looking for a way to conduct the census before the 2027 election, so that they can twist the figures, downplay figures in some places, and play up figures in some other places. But I tell you, Jonathan was accused of trying to downplay figures in the Northeast, using the Boko Haram insurgency as a convenient excuse. But what happened eventually? Even though he got INEC to postpone the election by 6 weeks, so that they could clear the Boko Haram areas, But at the end of the day, he lost. He lost the election. So, it should.
Yes, but Emeka, let us know. Yes, Emeka, sorry to interject. We all agree that Jonathan Ebele lost the elections, but don't you think because of his type of person, his persona had allowed it go by, not because he didn't know what he was supposed to do? Even lots of Nigerians blamed him for not playing politics that well. We all know what we're talking about here. Do you think Bola Tinubu has got that personality or that persona of behaving like a Goodluck Ebele Jonathan that would allow things just go by while he just sits back?
Well, no matter the persona you have, you cannot force the political process now in your favor. I know, yes, they've been rigging successive elections and all of that, but you cannot force political process in your favor totally. What did people expect Jonathan to do? They expected Jonathan to reject the results of the elections. But don't forget that by then you had the Boko Haram insurgency, and don't forget that a chieftain of the PDP was quoted as having said that they imported insurgents from different countries, to come and cause problems in Nigeria if Jonathan had not, accepted the defeat. Now, under Tinubu, you have another two. Under Buhari, ISWAP joined Boko Haram. Then under Tinubu, you now have two more terrorist groups, that have sprung up. Lakurawa and
Mahmuda.
The other one. Yes, Mahmuda. Thank you. Also, and where are they basically operating? In the north. And making incursions in the south. Then you now add the headsmen. And this government doesn't look serious about dealing with these insurgencies. It doesn't look serious. We're dealing with the problem of terrorist herdsmen. You know, look at what is happening in Plateau. Look at what is happening in Benue. You know, even in Taraba. So you can see that even the government itself is overwhelmed by the challenges facing it. You know, but it's just pretending that it can still buy time. It can buy time. The other day, some insurgents, released a video. Or these terrorists released a video of an aircraft gun, an anti-aircraft gun, which can shoot down helicopters, shoot down drones. They were displaying it on social media. So what it tells you is that, Tinubu thinks somehow or the other, through the governors, what Jonathan couldn't do, he can do it. But there's very little. Because that's why you saw the Speaker of the House of Reps, you saw that he brought up that Tajuddin Abbas, that he brought up that funny bit, because they know that there's going to be a boycott of 2027 elections if there are no electoral reforms before them. They know. So in order to stave off, and they now brought out that criminal bill, that strange bill, that if you don't vote, they will criminalize a boycott of elections. Where have you seen it in the world? That, when people don't come out to elections, then you are criminalized. Look at what happened during the governorship election in Lagos State in 2023. Remember that lady who was stabbed in the face?
Yes, very well.
Had multiple plasters?
Yeah.
She went out to vote. Did they allow her to vote? Did the talks of, the APC allow people to vote? Didn't they tell her, you look like a Labour Party supporter, you look like Igbos, don't vote, go away. Didn't you see what was happening? Didn't they injure somebody? Didn't they injure people? Didn't they even allegedly cut somebody's hand with a machete? So what are we talking about? You don't want people to vote in election because you don't believe in the electoral process. Then, when they get so desperate, they snatch ballot boxes. They tell their talks to snatch ballot boxes and run away with it. Yes, in line with their principles, snatch it, grab it, and run away with it. So that is the mantra. So in doing all of this, Tinubu thinks he can, somehow sway the political process in his favor. So and that's why you've seen the kind of national chairman they have in the APC, the kinds of things he has been saying, that they will do this, they will win elections, they will sweep the state, they will do this and all of that. Look, even if the entire National Assembly and all the governors declare for APC, let me tell you, Nigerian politicians always look out for themselves. Nigerian politicians don't care about anybody. Their loyalty is only to themselves. Let me just drag a little to the United States. You can see what's happening between Elon Musk and President Donald Trump. Like somebody said, that somebody said some time ago, that no matter how you run around for a politician, no matter how you run around, for somebody like Donald Trump, at the end of the day, his loyalty is to himself, not to you and not to anybody, but to himself. So all of those positions, all of those governors, National Assembly members, whatever they are doing, defecting to APC, is all about themselves. That is it. It's all about themselves. And once they are secure, they don't care. You saw it in Lagos now, in 2023. Look at how Peter Obi swept Lagos. But by the following weekend, during the governorship election, you saw how they mobilized thugs to attack voters in Lagos. So what are we talking about? Politicians only care about themselves, and it will happen. In 2027, it's only going to be worse. Because before then, all these politicians, they know how they will feather their own nest. They don't care about Tinubu coming in 2027. They don't care. The same thing they did to Jonathan. That of Jonathan was that they were defecting to APC. They were defecting to APC from PDP. But at the end of the day, where did they end up? Where many of them are back to PDP. Some of them have gone to other parties, So it's that way. They are just deceiving themselves.
It's very, very, very true, Emeka. Because the truth of the matter is, as Nigerians, we do not hold anything against President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, not at all. Our desire is that he succeeds. And for Nigerians also, we are not asking for too much We're not asking for President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to send us to the moon. That's not what we're asking for. What we are basically saying is lead us well and provide for us all that you have promised you were going to do. But it's very unfortunate that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is not doing all that he has promised he is supposed to do. He has lots of reasons and excuses to why he is not doing all that he's supposed to do. Already you've concluded it that he is an elitist and concerned about only the rich. So the question is, why then would he decide to run for the position of the president if what he is concerned about is not the people that are the majority, but the very minute amongst the society, which is the elitists?
No, he has told you now that he had not a presidential ambition for 20 years. That, and his mantra was Emiloko, is my turn. He never told you that it's a turn of the people, of the grassroots. As far as they are concerned, the people are just disposable commodities. That is it. As far as they are concerned, the people don't matter. So what do you think? Why do you think they'll bother about the people? They don't care. These guys just don't care. They don't care about the people. They don't care about anything you're talking about. Politics, let the nation, let the political system be much better. These guys just don't care. They don't care. So, and that's why you see the nation is this way. The economic policies have, brought, like Afenifere said, that they brought deformation instead of reformation, and that they've thrown, over 7 million businesses have shut down because of Tinubu's horrible policies. They've now raised some funny anywhere belle-face economics, saying that the naira will stabilize at 1,006 to 1,600. Was that where the naira was when Tinubu came in? Was that where it was when he came in? Even with their naira for crude, the price of petrol products have not gone down. They've just by 15 kobo, 15 naira, 30 naira. Is that what we're talking about? That's not what we're talking about. You yanked up prices from 190 to 600, from 600 to 1,002. And then you now came down to 853 naira. You are telling us that you have reduced that petrol. The prices are coming down. You are telling us that price of food items are coming down. Who are you deceiving? What was the price at the time you were coming in? Even those reduced prices, go to filling stations. How many fueling stations? How many vehicles do you see in fueling stations? You go to any fueling station, you see the attendants sleeping.
Yeah, very true.
Because nobody is coming to buy fuel. Nobody is coming to buy diesel. Gas is not out of the reach of the ordinary man. And you see how our forests are being cut, our trees are being cut down in our forests. So, all of these things, can the people afford these things? Can the people send their children to schools? Can people pay rent? Can people afford basic necessities? The answer is no. Go and ask the loan apps, ask the banks. The rate of loan default is high, even among the rich. Even among the rich, there are many rich people who have taken loans, and they tell you that they are unable to pay back. So basically, what has it brought about? Nothing. Floated the naira, it removed subsidy, but the subsidy was pumped into the pockets of the rich. I mean, we have increased, you said you got subsidy savings of $20 billion, but you have borrowed over 100 trillion naira just in 2 years. You met the debt profile at around 80-something trillion, but today it's almost 200 trillion naira. Your 2025 budget is a budget of waste. 50% of it is a budget of waste. You have a 13 trillion naira deficit in the budget. Now that's a deficit that should not exist, because if you remove all these street lights of 266 million naira and all these phony items, you will see that we don't need such a huge 2025 budget. See, one of the points is this. One of his aides, the aide that resigned, Ali Ndume, his media aide, was saying that what we need to work for is to increase purchasing power. That we don't necessarily need to look at lowering prices. But I wonder where he got the economic theory from. Because you cannot increase purchasing power when goods are out of the reach of the people. One of the steps you take is to find a way to reduce prices, so that when you reduce prices, people are able to spread their income across different areas. You said it makes sense for money to move around. I wonder where these guys get all these their funny theories from. Simply sit down. There are e-books. People are writing articles, leading economies of the world, they're writing articles. You just saw, I don't know if you saw the report of the African Finance Corporation that came out yesterday that said that Africa has $1.1 trillion of untapped wealth. Talked about from pension funds, from insurance funds, talked about from sovereign wealth funds, talked about from public development institutions, $1.1 trillion. But that is opposite to what the IMF and World Bank have been talking about. Now you saw what they said about electricity. They even singled out Lagos. That Lagos has generated 19 gigawatts, even much more than the national grid. Much more than what the national grid has supplied to Lagos. So what it tells you, where did it come from? From solar, from diesel, and petrol generators. So what does that tell you? That, look, the wealth in Nigeria, Nigerians Nigerians have been pushed to the level where they're on their own. And somebody's talking about 2027. Oh, no. Please tell me another story.
It's actually very unfortunate, Emeka. I had the opportunity yesterday of going through the documentary of Stalin in Russia, and equally the documentary of Adolf Hitler. And there was this comparison that was done between those two, gentlemen. And the likelihood of both is the desire of one-party system, is the desire of controlling everyone and galvanizing everyone to themselves. That was what was very peculiar with both gentlemen. And the question again is, my last question, if you may, why is it that the current leaders we have, seeing all of these things and the negative effect of history, especially with regards to authoritarian leadership, dictatorship, and all, why do you think leaders of today still desire to pursue the same course that the world has hated on, especially coming from people that no one would love to reconcile with? Emeka, are you still there? All right, I think we're having a little bit of glitch yet again, but I think we have to leave it at this point. Emeka, are you there with me?
No, I'm here. Yes.
Okay.
Well, the thing is this: like a philosopher said, that the biggest problem of man is that man does not learn from history. You can see what Donald Trump is trying to do in the United States. Try to run the nation like a third world dictator. Of course, but you can see the pushback. People have been pushing back at him. You can see how he's pushing the U.S. into another recession because of his wonky, tariffs. He was the one who started calling for a meeting with Z, the premier of China. You can imagine, and that's what people warned him about, that he would end up with the short end of the stick. So that is it. Men never learn from history, because power, like philosopher said, power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely. And all basically about ego, self-aggrandizement, not about the people. And that is a sad thing we see playing out in Nigeria. That's why you see they cannot do anything. They cannot do anything beyond pay salaries. There are how many states are even paying minimum wage? They can't pay salaries, they can't pay pensions. The quality of the roads, once it rains, the roads start washing off. Like one former governor once said, he said it was acid rain that was washing off the roads in the state. That was a Rocha Sokorocha of Imo State.
Yes.
And the acid rain didn't wash off.
Yes, and also Ipasu, who stated that because of people who were killing birds, by the roadside, so the hot water that was gotten from from taking off the feathers of the birds that were thrown back to the road, was what spoiled the road in Abia State. That's from Ikpazu.
That man should never have been a governor. He should just have remained, as a university lecturer, just dishing out outdated theories. He should never have been a governor. That man was a disaster.
Very true, Emeka. I think we just have to leave it at this point. It's really so funny that in 2025 we still live in a country and at a time when the world has left us far back. Nigeria in 2025 still looks like Nigeria in 1904. In fact, live as it is, Human Development Index like it was before amalgamation, lots of people would say it's far better than what we have today in Nigeria. And no wonder lots of Nigerians would have asked or had desired to know why the white left Nigeria very early. If they had stayed a little longer, maybe we would have gotten things right, or maybe help us grow our infrastructure. Then they now leave like we see today in South Africa. But what we have today is a decaying society, a decaying infrastructure, a decaying leadership at its worst. And that is the reality, the very sad reality we have today in Nigeria. Thank you so very much, Emeka. We truly do appreciate you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, that's just the time we have for today. I love to believe you enjoyed our show just like I did right here. Please do well to visit us. You can always find us at enterprisetvnews.com. You may equally like, comment, and follow us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV7. I am Henry Igwebike. Thank you for watching.